Hi everyone, welcome back to the Castrology channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cailin and today we're going to be looking at your July 2025 horoscopes. So this is a tropical Western astrological reading, and you can watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign, your sun and your moon sign as well. If you've only got time to watch one horoscope though, I would start off with your ascendant sign, which is also known as your rising sign. The reason for that is because generally speaking, it does tend to be the most accurate overall. And lastly, I am also on Instagram as well as Facebook, so it's the same handle, which is Castrology, if you want to follow me there. Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your July 2025 horoscope. This month is massive for you guys, and that's because Uranus will be entering Gemini in your 7th house for the first time in 84 years. So this is a new 8-year cycle that is taking place. I'm going to talk about it throughout the course of this reading, but just letting you know that I'm actually going to be putting out a Uranus in Gemini video solely dedicated to predictions for all 12 signs. So you can subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and that video will be going up in the next few days after I've released this video. Okay, so first, let's talk about career and business. Your 10th house is very activated this month, and the 10th house relates to your public reputation and your career. And the reason why it's activated is because Mars will still be transiting Virgo in your 10th house, and it's been there since the 17th of June. So this is a nearly 2-month transit, which will conclude on the 7th of August. So this can see you taking the initiative at work. Maybe there are more projects for you to contribute to or more responsibilities for you to take on board. This can see you being very impactful in your workplace actually. So you may be handed more responsibilities at work. I will just say though that because the 10th house rules over our boss and authority figures, so think upper management, law enforcement, etc., having Mars transit your 10th house can make you more visible and more easily picked on to make an example of. Okay, not that Sagittarians can't hold their own, but I just wanted to flag it with you that your assertiveness when it comes to the workplace may, in some instances, be mistaken for not knowing your place. And on a different note, your boss may just be more irritable around this period of time. Okay? But in saying all of that, it is a really good time for you to volunteer for projects, promotions, and to put yourself out there. Now, Mars and the South Node are going to form a conjunction, which is very, very rare in the sign of Virgo. You know, the next one wouldn't be for another maybe 18, 19 years. And this conjunction between South Node and Mars only happens once every two and a bit years. In any case, with it occurring in your 10th house, there may be something that you have to walk away from when it comes to your work. So it could be walking away from a disagreement. You may have to bite your tongue or cop something on the chin. This can see you maybe experiencing like some kind of unexpected turn of events, and maybe it's like a team effort that doesn't quite go in your favor. But just remember that Mars in your 10th house can really help you to rally and be resilient and resourceful. Now, I also wanted to mention that for the first week of the month, Uranus will be at 29 degrees in Taurus in your 6th house. And the 6th house relates to your day-to-day work and comings and goings. So because Uranus is at the critical anaretic degree, being 29 degrees, this can indicate that there are maybe some shocks to the system with work. So there could be employees who unexpectedly are let go, or there could be systems and processes and protocol that hasn't been followed correctly, and therefore projects can go awry, or in some cases even belly up. All right, so if you have deadlines that you need to adhere to, I would already be asking for more time extensions, or to maybe just prime or prepare whoever you need to, that you may not get everything complete in time. And that doesn't mean it's because you didn't do enough of a good job. I see this as more so being things that are out of your control. Okay, so other things to mention here would be that on the 13th of July, Saturn is going to station retrograde in Aries in your 5th house at 1 degrees. And by the way, Neptune will also be stationing retrograde earlier in the month at 2 degrees. And so because the 5th house rules over owning your own business, this can see you working really hard on a big project or undertaking, and this could take you a few months to pull off. Maybe if there's a product that you've been wanting to produce, you may find that you have to pivot in a big way, or in some cases even go back to the drawing board. In any case, this is a good time for you to streamline your processes when it comes to owning your own business or even creative projects on the side. And lastly, with this one, some of you may even decide that you need to push the pause button on your business or just take a step back in order to focus on other things that need your attention. Okay, so now let's have a look at finances and property. Having Uranus at 29 degrees and then the Venus-Uranus conjunction at 29 degrees on the 4th of July could indicate that there are maybe unexpected bills that come up in the first 7 days of the month. In saying that, you could actually close out a debt or a loan or even a mortgage as well. So you can pay off old debts, or maybe fines can be waived, or other people can assist you financially speaking with debts that you owe. And with Neptune stationing retrograde in Aries on the 5th of July, this can see you doing a bit of a stock take when it comes to what changes would you need to make financially in order to start a new business or to expand your existing business further. And still talking about finances here, another way that this could play out is that you may be preparing to start a family or expand your existing family further, and you're needing to make some important decisions about your spendings accordingly, especially as it relates to what you spend on fun, frivolity, entertainment, nights out, and so on and so forth, given that this is in the 5th house. On the 11th of July, there will be a full moon in Capricorn at 18 degrees in your 2nd house. So because this full moon is making a trine to Mars in Virgo, which I see as a positive, you could actually receive a payout, bonus, lump sum of money, or you could come into possession of some kind of resource or possession which is meaningful to you. This is another indicator of paying off some kind of important debt, I might add. Now, for the first 3 weeks of the month, the Sun will be transiting your 8th house as it is Cancer season, and it will be there together with Jupiter, which is your chart ruler. So Jupiter is in Cancer for pretty much another 11 months till the end of June in 2026. And because it's your chart ruler, this means that your attention and your energy is focused here. So the 8th house is all about your mutual resources. So the Sun and Jupiter here can indicate that you may be looking at combining your resources with another person. Maybe family matters could be arising. So there could be conversations about money that you need to put towards parenting, or that you need to put towards your children or your family. With Jupiter ruling over your 4th house, maybe there are big decisions that you need to make about your property and living circumstances. So maybe looking at buying a property with another person or relocating. Or some of you may find out that you are due to inherit a property. So that's another way that that could be playing out. So in terms of property, having Uranus enter the sign of Gemini in your 7th house could be triggering something here, because Uranus will be squaring your 4th house cusp. And if you're a Sagittarius moon, well, the moon rules over property and your living situation. So there may be something that arises, like from the 7th of July onwards, in that 4-month period where you could have to change your living situation abruptly, whether that is relocating, buying, selling, tenants moving in, tenants moving out, someone coming to live with you, you going to live with another person. But in some way, shape, or form, Uranus here brings through something unexpected or shocking, or it could even feel like premature as well. You know, maybe you were prepared to make a certain move or integrate something, but things just start unfolding a lot faster than what you would have thought. So do let me know if that is you, Sagittarius, by leaving me a comment. I'm always curious to hear what everyone is up to. But now let's have a look at family life. Okay, so with Venus entering the sign of Gemini and then Uranus entering the sign of Gemini, so this is the 5th and the 7th of July respectively, this can indicate that there may be important shifts in the life of your second born child, because the 7th house rules over our second born child. So maybe they are making a decision that you didn't see coming, that's very unexpected. They could have some news to share with you. Even if it's good news, it could just be that it catches you off guard. On a different note, Uranus rules over your 3rd house. So still talking about family here. Ruler of the 3rd house in the 7th house is highlighting important conversations with siblings, especially if they're younger, extended relatives, so nieces, nephews, and whatnot. And Uranus opposing you could indicate that there's maybe a bit of a blowout, a heated argument, or maybe you just hear from them very unexpectedly. Like, it doesn't have to be an argument. It could just be like, whoa, I haven't heard from you in a really long time. We weren't even on talking terms, and now you're coming out of the woodwork. Or perhaps you have a conversation with a sibling or an extended relative, and the topic or the theme just really like blows you away. Maybe they share something with you that's private or confidential, and you just wouldn't have like expected that, as an example. So with Neptune and Saturn both stationing retrograde on the 5th and the 13th of November in your 5th house, this is highlighting children, because the 5th house rules over children in general, but the 5th house is specifically your firstborn child as well. So they may be going through some kind of challenging situation in their life. Maybe you feel like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back with them, even if they're adults. Or some of you could be looking at fostering a child and going through that process, or looking at the process of freezing your eggs. For others of you, you could be reassessing your priorities, especially if you're thinking about starting a family or expanding your existing family further. And if you're grandparents, there may be changes here to how often you are seeing your grandchildren. So maybe some of you are seeing them less, or maybe you're having to look after your grandchildren and babysit them more. And so that's like, you know, I don't want to call it a burden, but just an added layer of responsibility with Saturn retrograde there in the 5th house. So now let's have a look at love and relationships, which also includes friendships. So having Venus and Uranus transit your 7th house, which represents your one-to-one relationships, could indicate that you may be going into business with a friend. Maybe you become like fast friends with someone and it's like a new bestie alert. So just hanging out a lot or spending a lot of time with this other person. It could feel like it's come a little bit out of nowhere, or maybe you don't normally socialize with people one-on-one. Maybe it's more so in a group setting and you're just like getting to know this particular person better as a friend. On a different note, with Mercury retrograde in your 9th house from the 18th of July through till the 11th of August, you could be reconnecting with old friends who live interstate or abroad. Now, when it comes to love and relationships, Venus and Uranus entering your 7th house are activating the part of your chart that rules over things like marriage and long-term commitments. In saying that, we've also got Neptune and Saturn going retrograde in your 5th house, and the 5th house is more about love, romance, and casual dating. So because there's just so many different things happening astrologically, there's more variables than normal. What I will say here is that to me, it looks like one way or another, your love life is being activated, or there's a powerful shift happening here. So let's start off by saying, if you're single, okay, Venus and Uranus entering your 7th house could indicate that maybe you find yourself being really attracted to someone, or you've been dating someone casually and now there's this scope to move the needle forward in a really fast-paced, rapid way. Okay, so that's one way that that could play out in terms of like progressing things to the next level. But then with Saturn and Neptune retrograde in your 5th house, if you're single, maybe some of you will be like, I want to come off the dating apps. I actually think I want to go through a bit of a sacred pause when it comes to relationships. And so maybe you are just wanting to go inwards and not really focus or be open to that at this time. For others of you, maybe it is really questioning your approach to your sex life. Okay, so some of you may be deciding to go through a period of celibacy. Others may be going through a period of working on intimacy with your significant other. Now, maybe for those of you who are in relationships, you are looking at starting some kind of business together, because Gemini is associated with contracts and it's a social house. So Venus and Uranus here could be looking at your relationship and basically taking it in a new direction, which is maybe unexpected or eccentric. So setting new goals for you and your partner that are perhaps unconventional or that go against the grain. So with Saturn retrograde in your 5th house as of the 5th of July through till the end of the year, no, the 13th of July, I mean to say, through till the end of the year, in one way, shape or form, I see you, those of you who are in a relationship, acknowledging that you need to work harder on your relationship. You need to maybe put in more effort or set certain boundaries or make it very clear to your partner what you would like from the relationship, what your needs are, or, you know, maybe just trying to ascertain what are their needs so that you can improve the foundation of the relationship. Because ultimately Saturn rules over foundations, and Saturn retrograding between Aries and Pisces is just indicative that more work needs to be done before you can move forward in any kind of secure way. This is more so for like new relationships. If you're in a relationship that's like long-term or it's a marriage, then for you guys, it can be a look at how do we work on reintroducing more romance into our relationship, or passion, or improving your sex life. Okay, so lastly, this is like the miscellaneous section of the reading. You have a very strong activation to your 9th house from about the last 2 weeks of July onwards. And that's because we've got Mercury retrograde there in the 9th house, then the Sun entering the sign of Leo on the 22nd, and then a new moon in Leo on the 25th of July. So look, maybe there's instability in the first couple weeks of the month, but from pretty much like later in the month onwards, I do think that things are going to start to improve for you. And that's because we'll have 4 planets in fire signs. So that's Saturn, Neptune, the Sun, and Mercury, albeit retrograde. So that will be very helpful and beneficial to you when it comes to making plans, taking action, and just overall vitality, right? So as I was saying though, with this activation to the 9th house and the Mercury retrograde here, travel plans may be thrown for a loop, or there may be unexpected travel which arises sometime in July or maybe even in August. The ninth house is related to higher education, so this could see you recommitting to a university program or a college degree, maybe re-enrolling, maybe changing courses, maybe changing subjects. The ninth house also relates to legal matters, so you may be appealing a decision, you may be wanting to reopen a court case, or someone may be reopening something when it comes to you, or appealing a decision that goes against you. Okay, so in any case, the sun is in Leo, it's going to be trining you, so that's very, very positive. I can't comment as to which way legal matters would swing because this is a collective reading, but just know that there is very supportive astrology here for you, Sagittarius. So on the 25th of July, with the new moon in your ninth house, this could see you planting seeds for a new chapter or setting intentions, and this could relate to an import-export business, publishing, travel, education, maybe having the opportunity to teach. And for others of you, there may be some kind of recalibration that's taking place with respect to your belief systems, whether these are spiritual, religious, world politics, ideologies, and just your understanding of how the world works. So you could be investigating these things that you are interested in at a deeper level. And so Sagittarius, that's all I have for you for July. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And of course, if you want to check out my Uranus and Gemini video where I go into a lot of detail, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can be notified when that one comes online. Thanks, Sagittarius, and I'll see you guys in my next video.